Today we are going to talk real estate wholesaling. You may hear seminars and investment gurus going on and on about how they make hundreds of thousands of dollars real estate wholesaling. Today we are going to dive into the pros and cons, define what it is, and help you make the decision if that's the route you want to go with your real estate investing. Let's dive in. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Lewis, real estate investor and entrepreneur with over 10 years experience building and growing a real estate team and investing in real estate. Before we dive into today's video, make sure that you hit that like button, leave us a comment, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. I am here to help you break out of your 9-to-5, gain financial freedom, and grow your wealth through real estate. Let's jump in. What the heck is real estate wholesaling, and can it actually be done? In simple terms, a real estate wholesale deal is a real estate investor goes out and finds a seller who is looking to sell their property, typically at a drastically reduced price, well below market value. They negotiate that price, and then during the escrow process, they shop that contract out to other investors and they actually negotiate a higher price for a different investor, and the wholesaler is the one that makes the money on the difference between what they originally agreed to with the seller and what they sold it to for an investor. And the new investor actually purchases the property from the original seller, and the wholesaler just gets to make some money from making that deal happen. In other words, a real estate wholesaler just simply acts as a middleman between the seller and the end buyer, whether that person's an investor or the actual end buyer who's going to move into the property, and makes money off of the difference between the agreed upon prices. It can be a lucrative business, so let's dive into the pros and cons and see if it's even something that you can take on in your own real estate investing journey. Let's dive into the pros of real estate wholesaling. Pro number one is the low startup costs. Unlike getting into long-term, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, whatever it may be, you don't have to put $150,000 down, a 25% down payment, whatever that may be. You simply are putting in the sweat equity to go find a seller who needs to sell, negotiate a great price. You do need some great negotiation and sales skills, so if you don't have those, this may be difficult for you. But if you can go in there and secure a great deal, then you can make some money, and you don't actually have to put any money into it of your own because you're selling that deal before escrow ever closes. So it's great if you don't have a lot of funds and you're good at negotiation. Great option. Pro number two is a quick turnaround on some profits for you on this one. So when you make a deal happen in the real estate wholesaling space, you're typically gonna make that paycheck in 30 to 60 days, depending on what you negotiate for the escrow period. So it's a very quick, once you find that seller, it's a very quick return on getting money into your pocket. Pro number three to this is that there is minimal risk involved. Since you have no intention of actually purchasing this property on your own, you don't have risk of getting stuck with it or making a bad deal. You may get out there and try to negotiate a deal with an end buyer and find out that something doesn't work there numbers-wise, and that's okay. You can actually back out of that deal under the contingencies that you have within that contract as long as you remain within those contingency periods. So no risk on your part. You may lose some time and some sweat equity, but you're not gonna lose out on money on these deals if you can't make the deal work. Pro number four, and this one's actually thinking outside the box a little bit, but this allows you to build an incredible network. And we all know that relationships are huge when it comes to real estate. This allows you to talk to a ton of other wholesalers, investors, real estate agents, potential sellers, and build an incredible network that will allow you in the future to put together deals much more easily. So in the beginning, it's some tough going there, but once you have those relationships built, you've got the right people that you can send deals out to and make a quick return on your investment. Let's dive into the cons and see if it's actually worth it for you to jump into real estate wholesaling. Con number one is unpredictable returns. You never know what you're actually going to make on a deal, and this can be similar in the flipping world and some of those pieces as well. A little bit less predictable than your long-term and short-term rentals where you've got some history and you can run some of those numbers. On a wholesale deal, you could make a few $1,000 to $100,000, and it all depends on how the seller's condition is, what type of negotiation you were able to make, and what type of deal you could make happen with the end use buyer. So there's a ton of negotiation that happens in a wholesale deal, and you may be doing a ton of work for just a little bit, and you're gonna have to turn a ton of volume to make something happen for a good yearly income, or you may strike it rich on one single deal and be able to live off that for some time. but it's a little bit unpredictable and you can't count on those big wins all the time. Much like with any deal in real estate, you're not gonna hit a home run all the time. They're gonna come few and far between, but you're gonna be working on slimmer margins for the most part. Con number 2, and we've already touched on this a bit, is you need to have strong negotiation skills. I take calls from people all the time that wanna jump into wholesaling because it sounds easy and they're just gonna make thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars by making deals happen. I'm telling you, there are some strong negotiations. You need to convince a seller to sell their home for $100,000 under market value so that you can then go sell it to somebody and convince them why it's actually worth market value or more so that you can make a deal happen. If you can't make those things happen, you are going to have a hard time real estate wholesaling, and people are not going to trust you in this industry very, very quickly. So you need to be really strong negotiator to create those deals and make them happen. If that's not in your skill set, you should probably sit this one out. Con number 3, and this is a big one to consider, is legal and ethical concerns with this practice. So obviously, like I said, you are taking a seller and convincing them to sell it at much lower than market value and turning around and finding somebody else to buy it for much higher. Some people feel it's a little slimy. That's up to you. Also, you have to worry about the legal ramifications of that. There are a ton of hoops that you need to jump through to make sure that you do this legally. There are some states that actually are going to be enforcing that you have a real estate license to actually make these deals happen in the future. I'm for that. I really think that you need to have that license and that experience and be held ethically to a board of realtors and association that's gonna hold you to ethical standards. So again, you need to weigh out those legal and ethical ramifications that could come with wholesaling. Con number 4 is this is a strategy that relies 100% on finding good deals. In a booming real estate market like we saw post-COVID, it would be nearly impossible to buy at the deal that you need to get to be able to make some money on those. A seller could, in a market like that, make a ton of money going to market, even if the place was filthy and needed a ton of work. So it relies on those deals coming through. And so when the market is booming, it's going to be much harder. I'm not saying you're not gonna find some of those deals out there, but they're gonna be fewer and further between. So if there's a shortage of inventory and prices are going up and you're in some bidding war scenarios, it's going to be very difficult for you. This side of the business gets very lucrative when the market starts to turn a bit, sellers start to feel a little bit desperate and need to get out from under things to make some financial decisions and make some things happen. So it's not always gonna be booming and making hundreds of thousands in all circumstances. So it's gonna be very market dependent, very market condition dependent for you to be making some money. That's it for our breakdown on the pros and cons of real estate wholesaling. We will absolutely make future videos that are gonna dive into the specifics on how you can make deals happen, how you can analyze some strategies you can use to find sellers that will help you in this scenario. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you hit that like button, leave us a comment about any questions you might have, as well as hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. I am here to help you break out of the 9 to 5, gain financial freedom, and grow wealth through real estate. We'll see you next time.